right? There.
Now
okay,
we're good.
There.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, everyone. Now, adjust the.
Okay, so we should be live now. I need to readjust this again.
Okay. Yes, you're good.
Everybody good? We're good? Okay. Sorry, that took a while for us to set up. We originally had this set up with the iPhone, and then we realized we couldn't do YouTube streaming from the iPhone for whatever reason, so I had to reset up everything with the easel. So, to get started, before we really get going, I'm going to go through all of the, oh, she can stay in here.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she won't bother me. I'm going to go through all of my supplies that I'm going to be using for this paint night. So I have my canvas board there on my easel. I decided to go with a slightly bigger size so that it would be seen a little bit better. And then I have, let's see, my paint. I've got acrylic paint. I have blue, red, and yellow, the three primaries. Hey, baby. And then also I have black and white. I don't usually like to use a lot of black. I actually don't use any black for oil painting, but acrylic is a little different. And then I have my three brushes. I've got a larger size. It's almost an inch wide flat brush. A medium, also flat. Not too big. Definitely smaller than my supplies, I think. Are you okay?
Sorry.
It's having issues again? Oh, your mouse is connected to this laptop, by the way.
Oh.
We've got 3 different laptops going right here so that we can try to keep things in order. Okay, well, I'm just going to get started then, and hopefully it'll load and continue on. We're going to leave this video up too, so if you don't catch it live, or if you feel like you need to pause it to go deal with something, or if you think that I'm going too fast, I'm going to try really hard not to go too fast. You can just pause it or watch it another time. So, to start out, I'm going to use a little bit of yellow paint. Now, typically with acrylics, if they're in bottles, I like to shake them up because they can separate a little bit. So I'm going to shake up my yellow acrylic paint and put just a tiny bit on my palette. Just a little bloop.
Just real quick.
Yes.
Someone said that you speak very soft. So
yeah,
that's
that's my whole brand.
I know. I'm just going to turn, that's actually up pretty high. If you're having any volume issues, it might be on your end.
Just wear your headphones and turn it way up.
Yeah.
Get some ASMR going.
This is why I think.
Okay, so I got just a tiny little bit of yellow paint on my palette. I'm going to put an even smaller amount of red and mix them together. So I've got tiny bit of red, tiny bit of yellow. I'm going to use my medium size flat brush and mix just a littlest dab of red into that yellow to make an orange. This is the first live stream painting class type thing that I've been doing, and so I'm still kind of figuring out how to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. So just a tiny bit of orange there. Now, when working with acrylic, I like to keep things clean and thin, and so I'll be dipping my paintbrush into my water quite a bit. Let's see if I can move my water over so you can see it. There it is. Okay, so here's my water. Just put in a little water, get a little water into the paint just to thin it out a little bit. Okay, and now I am ready to go. Some people like to prep their canvases with water or something beforehand. I usually prep my oil paintings with a layer of oil, but I'm not doing that tonight. I don't usually like to prep acrylic canvases. Okay, so with, hi baby, shush shush. So with the medium-sized paintbrush, like I said, I'm just gonna start off with a kind of a half circle shape like this. just like so. You see that okay? The lighting in here is a little bit odd too. I noticed that when I shine the lights directly at the canvas, it just blew out all of the color and you weren't able to see anything at all. So, half circle like this. The next thing I'm going to do, so this is going to be the water, and then this will be the sky up here. And so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the first line for the whale, and that is going to be, let's see, kind of like this, sort of like a backwards S a little. Just a slow, smooth, curved. Now this is going to be about the center of the whale. So you're going to have whale body on either side and the whale tail. So try to not get too close to the edge on the sides. Also remember, acrylic is very, very forgiving because it dries very quickly. And that means that you can paint over top of it real easy. So I got the shape for the whale. Great. So now I'm going to build in the body of the whale. Just kind of like, what would I compare the shape to? Just like almost like an upside down teardrop. Kind of building up a shape there and building up a shape here. It's going to be pointier down here towards it. This is where the tail is going to be. So it's going to be pointier down there, thicker up here. Okay. And then I am going to put in the whale tail itself. Kind of like the end of a arrow, like a bow and arrow. Like that. And like this. You can see that pretty good, right? Okay, good. So there's the whale tail, and then we're going to be seeing mostly the belly of the whale here. And so I'm going to start one of the fins pretty high up about here, and it will go like this. There is one fin, and the other fin kind of behind the body. So there's the whale. It's nose, tail, two fins, water edge. And yeah, Eric was saying that some people were saying that I talk very quietly. That's just how I talk. I thought about it beforehand. I thought about trying to make myself talk louder, but I don't want to. It's just how I'm gonna do.
You know your brand.
I know my brand. I know what makes me comfortable. And trying to yell into a microphone is not what makes me comfortable. Next thing I'm gonna put in is the sun. Now, that will fit right about here. It's going to be partway under the water. Just a circle shape. Like so. And there's my sun. Now we have all of our basic shapes. The next thing I am going to do is the waves. So the waves, it's just kind of like a free form, not really, hey, just do whatever you want. Just kind of going like this, and a little bit like that.
All right.
And then underneath, is everything okay?
Yes. A few other people have mentioned how they like you're really soft, so
Turn up
I'm
your
gonna.
things.
I know, but they said they had the volume all the way
You're
up.
gonna get your hand in the paint.
I'm turning up the gain quite.
Should I move
a
this
bit.
like?
No, it's all the way up there. I'm turning up the gain pretty much as high as it goes.
What if we put it here and like? No, then it wouldn't be like
No,
talking
it's
into
just
it.
leave it where it is. It's
Okay.
fine. But that, just so everyone knows, it's the most we can do.
This is quiet paints.
It's ASMR. It's an ASMR video. That's how we fix it.
That's how we fix it. So I got my waves in. Waves are all set. There's kind of like a sloppy, sloopy mess. Okay, so now I am done with the outlines. Am I done with the outlines? Yeah, I'm done with the outlines for now. Before I clean off my brush, I like to just kind of push it around on the palette, try to get as much of the paint off of the brush before I actually put it in the water. That way you keep your water cleaner for longer. You don't get a lot of just like goopy, gross paint at the bottom of your water cup. So it's mostly cleaned off on the palette and then the water.
Hold on one sec.
What's wrong?
Every once in a while it... Oh, that
What are you
might be
doing?
fine. It just might be...
Okay. Always make sure that you clean your brush well, and then when you finish cleaning it, take a rag or a paper towel, whatever you've got, and I'll get off as much of the water as possible, because you don't want, like, I like to have some water in the paint, but I don't like it to be like so wet. Okay, next thing, I am going to put in the color of the sky. And so I'm going to take yellow again. I've already mixed up all my other yellow with orange, so I'm going to get some fresh yellow. Mix it up, just in case it's separated. And how much do I need? Like, maybe like a dime, maybe slightly bigger than a dime. They're not great straight out of the bottle, and so I almost always mix at least somewhat. The yellow, I always mix with just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of white. It keeps it from being really transparent. Just gives it more of like a richer, opaque flavor. So the tiny, tiny bit of white. I'm going to use my biggest brush. So let's see, you can't really see the white there. That's the white, that's the yellow. Use my biggest brush. I'm gonna mix in just a little bit of white into the yellow. Just get kind of like a sunshine yellow. Yeah, that's good. And then, like I said, I'm going to take just a little bit of water on my brush, mix that into the paint just to give it a little bit more, just make it easier to work with. A little bit smoother. Okay, and now I'm just going to color in the sky. How's that looking? Yeah, you can see that. And with the big brush, just going all over the sky, up to the edge of the whale. The outline is still a little bit wet, but since it's just orange, mixing that a little bit with the yellow sky doesn't really matter. What are you doing?
Just plugging in the computer.
Oh, because the Wi-Fi is being a little spotty.
I'm afraid it's just making the video a little spotty.
Ooh, I wonder if you can hear the brush strokes really well coming through the... Because the microphone is right there.
I think you were born to be an ASMR person.
It's too bad I don't care about that stuff. Okay, just filling in the sky. If you feel like you need to use your medium brush or even your small brush to get some of these details, that is fine. You can twist the big brush. I like to twist the big brush around and try to just use the big brush to get into all the little corners of the sky. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so that is that. I think the next thing I'm going to do is the sun. So again, got some paint on my brush. I'm just going to wipe it off as much as I can on my palette before I dip it in the water, so I don't get that sludge of paint at the bottom of my water cup. So clean off the brush, make sure it's really clean. There's going to be paint kind of collected at the edge there. If you leave acrylic paint to dry, it kind of turns into, well, it's acrylic, so it turns into plastic, which is great if you want to, I don't know, make a design on a t-shirt, because then it won't come off. But it's not great if you splatter it on your t-shirt, because it won't come off. And then also, if you leave acrylic paint on your brush, it will turn the bristles into a solid plastic mass, and then your brush will not be usable again, and that is frustrating. Okay, next thing, sun. So I actually still have a little bit of the orange left from when I was doing the outline. So I'm just going to use that. If you don't have any, you can mix yourself some more. Do I want to use the big brush? Yeah, I think I do. So I'm going to use my big brush again. Take in that orange paint and just fill in the sun with the orange. Now you see how it's a little bit transparent? That's because I haven't put any white into this orange. Like I said, that's why I like to mix white in with the yellow, so it makes it a little bit more opaque. So put in the sun. People can stop there if they want to, but I am going to add just some volume to the sun. I'm going to use my medium brush again after I clean off my big brush. That's all clean. Medium brush. I am going to make a slightly darker orange. So I already have this little red bit here on my palette. And take some of that, take some of this yellow that I already have here, mix those together to make a darker orange. I'm trying to do this so you can see. There is my slightly darker orange. Okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna go kind of around the edge of the sun. I like to treat it like almost like a ball that has a shine on it. Like that. So there's a bit of an outline. I'm gonna clean off my brush. And then I'm going to dry it off. And then using a clean, dry brush, I am going to go and just run it between the dark edge and the light edge of the orange. And that will blend the two colors together pretty nicely. There. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
I want to give people a moment to like catch up. I don't know if going too fast.
Eric said that I should go slower.
Well,
People can pause.
okay, you're right.
That's, yeah.
Okay.
But I will try to slow down too. Slower and louder. That's what everybody wants. Slow, loud. Is that what you want? I don't like doing what people tell me to do. That's why I never go to painting classes. Oh, it's weird to hear. I can hear myself coming through Eric's laptop. Okay. Da, 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 da. I'm going to put a little bit of this yellow that I still have on my palette and take a little bit of that, maybe mix in a little bit more, what is that color? White. Yellow and white, and I'm going to do a little bit in the center of the sun to give it volume. Here's another thing about doing art, is it's a different part of your brain than speech. And so sometimes when I am painting, I forget words or how to talk, which isn't great for trying to tell people how to paint while I am painting. But we're working through these things together. There's the sun. I am almost ready to start with the blues. Okay. Sun, sky, done for now. I will be adding in more details as we get into more colors. Now, my palette is getting pretty full, so I am going to grab another paper plate. Thankfully, I have another one. But I'm going to hold on to this because I will be using some of these colors later if they don't completely dry out by the time I get to them. But we'll see. Okay, next thing I am grabbing is blue. Yes, my blue paint. Clean palette. Shake it up. Some of this is still wet. That's fine. Okay. Let's see, how much paint do I want to use? Maybe another nickel's worth of blue. Between a dime and a nickel. Just like that. Paint goes a pretty long way. You don't need too much of it to cover a surface. Next, I'm going to use some black. Like I said, I hardly ever like to use paint straight out of the bottle. I just think it just needs mixing. It just need to give it volume with some mixing. Like I said, I never use black in oil paint. Black has a tendency, well, first of all, when they make black paint, it's already a mix of other colors. And so black just seems to have a tendency to make things muddy if you're not really, really careful with it. So be careful with your black. I'm going to put in just a tiny little blip. Oh, I'll get rid of this, it doesn't confuse you. Tiny little blip of black. And then again, using my large brush, I will mix in a little bit of black to the blue to make a dark navy blue color. How's that look? Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so this is just a really, really dark blue. And I am going to paint in the whole underside of the water part besides the tail. So kind of just like what I did with the sky, except with the ocean. And my orange outline, it's mostly dry. There's a few parts of it that are still wet. If the orange and the blue mix together, that will make a gross brown. So just be careful as you get close to those edges. Go right up to the edge. This is a little darker than I was expecting it to be, but that's fine. There we go. Now when using an easel, I don't like to get a ton of paint on the easel, so I'm just going to pick this up so that I can get right to the edge. If you watch our live shows, you might notice that when I start painting towards the edge of the pocket vinyl paintings, I'll tilt the painting up a little bit so that I don't just run the paintbrush right across the easel. There. So that's the bottom. I don't usually use these little easels, but I'm really glad that I have this so that I can show you guys what I'm doing.
Looks really great.
Hey, thanks. Eric said it looks great. I don't know if you can hear his loud booming voice over mine. Again, if you want to use the smaller brush, feel free. I'm going to keep using this big one because I can cover a larger surface faster. And the faster I get the paint down, the quicker, not the quicker, but the sooner it will dry. There is the ocean. We painted the entire ocean together. Okay. Yeah, that's a dark blue. That looks pretty good. Now, I kind of ran out. Now, again, I'm cleaning off my brush. I'm going to push it against the palette to try to get as much paint off of it as I can. And then into the water. I think this is the last time I'm going to be using the large brush, and so I'm going to clean it real good and then dry it off with a rag and then set it aside. I try never to leave my paintbrushes sitting in the cup of water, because not only can paint get caked on it even when it's sitting in the water, but it will bend the bristles down like this and permanently damage your brushes. And so I try not to do that, but sometimes I forget. Okay, so there is ocean and sky. Great. I need a little bit more blue. You might have enough blue. I'm just gonna make the same dark blue color. I just didn't make quite enough. So a little bit more of the blue. I already have some black. I'm gonna take my medium brush. Now I'm gonna be using, I'm gonna mostly be using my medium brush. Actually, what do I wanna do next? I think I'm gonna use a small brush, the smallest one. I'm gonna get some details in here so that I don't accidentally paint over. I don't have to paint over some stuff. Okay, so mixing up a dark blue again. There's that. Yeah, just put in a tiny little bit of black into the blue. And now I will make some details. So I've already got the fin here. I'm going to outline it just carefully with the dark blue. Oh, get a little bit of water in there. If you find that your paint is too dry or just not smooth, you can put just a little bit of water on your brush, mix it into your paint. That'll help. Now, this is going to be a humpback whale. Humpback whales have these little, what did you call those? Little bloopity bloops on their fins. Just a little texture. So I'm going to draw that in with the detail. Got a little chubby armpit flap. That's probably what that is. I am also going to put in the detail. I'm just going to go over the wave orange outline that I initially did, like that, just so that I can see it a little bit better. I did want to say, before I forget, happy birthday to our friend Beverly. We heard it's her birthday today, and she has been a really great friend for years and one of our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate her and her husband Josh. So happy birthday, Bev. Okay, now I'm putting in the belly of the whale. It'll go like that. And it has those lines on the belly that kind of go like this. My orange outlines seem like they're mostly dry by now. If you didn't do them too thick, they should be pretty good. If they are still a little bit wet, like I said, if they mix with the blue, they'll kind of create a brownish color. I try to avoid that, but it's really not a big deal. And that's the great thing about painting, it's not a big deal. Nothing is a big deal, nothing matters. Okay, so there's the belly. I can do the top chunk of this whale. Goes like so. Kind of forgot to put the fin in. It's sort of covered by that. It would be a fin there if it wasn't covered. Whatever, doesn't matter. Eye bulb. Right here, right kind of above the fin. Like that. I'm going to put in the other fin here. Some more of these little chunks on the top of the fin. I am going to do the underside of these waves just a little bit so we can see what we're working with. Great. So So that looks pretty good. And do some detail down here on the tail. So there is whale detail there. Yes. All right. Now I am cleaning off my smallest brush, kind of scraping the paint off on the palette again, into the water, sploop, 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 and cleaning it off with my rag. Still a little paint, clean it off some more. Do you want to hear a secret? I have never watched Bob Ross. People at shows always love to ask me how much I love Bob Ross, and I always say, he's the best. He looks like he might be. He looks like a happy person, but I've never actually watched his show. Okay, now I am going to use the dark blue. Keep using the dark blue color. I haven't mixed any new colors yet. And I am going to start just putting in the shadows on this whale. Now the under part of the whale, because it's under water, will be a little bit darker, so I'm going to start down there. Notice where the sun is, and think about how the light will be hitting this figure. And so you want the dark colors to be on the opposite side of the sun. So starting down underwater, I'm going to put in just a chunk of shadow. I like to leave an edge of color so that you can see where the sketch, so this like the orange part of the sketch comes through. I know a lot of people who like to just cover that up completely because they think it looks messy. I think it adds a good amount of depth to the painting, and it also just shows how you got to the final project, which as a painter myself, I find really fascinating when other people leave that. And so that's what I like to do. So a little bit on the fin, a little bit on the tail fins, a little bit on the underside of the belly. And that's all I'm going to do for the dark blue right now. And then I'm going to do some dark blue on the whale belly. Again, starting with dark blue, the furthest side away from the sun. Just a little bit, like so. As I get closer to the sun edge, I'm doing just a little bit less and less. And then underneath the fin as well. These lines that I made on the belly really help guide how the brush strokes are going. Like that. And just some here on the back of the whale. Just a bit, not too much. There's dark blue. Yeah, good. Good, good, good. And then I'm going to use, did I tell you I'm using the medium-sized brush? I think I did. And I'm going to put a little bit more dark on the fins, but not too much. So the whale fins will they're actually mostly white, but I'm going to put just a bunch of blue onto them just to show the depth and the volume. Okay, now I'm going to clean off this medium-sized brush again, wipe it on the palette, clean it in the water, clean, 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 and I'm going to throw some white into this. Mix in some white. Okay, white paint, shake it up. I still have some dark blue that I mixed on my palette, so I'm just going to do a tiny little bit of blue. I want to make a medium blue. So I never, when I'm putting new paint onto the thing, I never put the paint right into, so like I want to mix this white into the blue, but I never put the white directly into the blue so that I can just add in small amounts as I go, and I don't waste paint that way. So I'm going to take, with my medium-sized brush, take a little bit of the white and put it into this dark blue color and mix it up into a lighter blue. It's going to be a little bit of a gray blue because we mixed black in there. And that is great. Great. Great.
Just so you know, someone, it was a few minutes ago, but someone commented, Katie commented and said, I watch him fall asleep, I love him. I think she was referring to Bob Ross.
Oh, huh. I've heard that. I've heard that lots of people will listen to Bob Ross to soothe themselves. Alright, so now I've got my medium blue color here. And I am going to, pretty much every place on the whale that I left white, I'm now going to cover with the medium blue color that I just mixed. So I'm going to start here, putting in this medium blue color. Yeah, I don't know if we said this or not, but Eric is monitoring the video from across the room. I am not paying attention to the comments, but he is reading them, and he told me that if you guys had any questions or...
I've commented too.
Oh, great.
Such.
Great!
I think most people are making art, not really commenting.
Good.
Not too much being said.
Keep your mouth shut.
Keith asked if the whale had a name.
His name is Keith. Hey, Keith. Keith the whale. Is that a compliment?
Yeah.
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 I don't want
The way you see whales.
I love whales.
That's majestic and beautiful.
I think whales are pretty neat. So, where I grew up, I don't feel like telling you my life story, but on the way to where I grew up, you have to drive along the St. Lawrence Seaway in the province of Quebec. And many times I have seen whales jumping around in the St. Lawrence. And it's neato. Yep. I've never been on a whale watching trip though. I kind of want to, but I also feel like if I didn't see enough spectacular sights, I would feel like I wasted my money. I don't know. If something is too expensive, if there is an event that is too expensive, I find myself thinking about the expense too much and then not enjoying what the thing is. Like, a couple years ago, Eric and I got to go see The Lion King on Broadway because we traded a painting for some tickets to a guy who's in the cast. And because I didn't have to pay the money, because it was a painting that I traded and not money to get those tickets, I felt like I could enjoy it more. Whereas if I paid money to get the tickets, I feel like I would have constantly been thinking about, oh, this song cost me, $20 to watch or whatever. You know what I mean?
Tegan says that my whale is named Bradbury.
Bradbury! Eric has a friend named Bradbury.
Well, the last name.
Yeah. I was talking about whales and I forgot what I was doing. I've got my medium blue. I'm going to do some of the waves. The underside of the waves I'm going to do in a little bit of medium blue. Like so. Again, leaving the edge of the sketch in orange so that I can see through it. In case anyone missed on the Facebook event, I also made a coloring page of this painting for anyone who doesn't have paints, doesn't feel like doing paints. That is also available. So I put in all of my medium blue. I want to make an even lighter blue, so I've still got some here on my palette. I'm going to take a little bit more of this white that I still have, mix that into the blue to get a much lighter color. Again, it's kind of be like a gray blue because of the black that I mixed in, and that is okay. Just so you know, I'm trying very hard to go slowly. For a little while, I taught English in Korea, and I remember the first couple of weeks of teaching English, I was just going way too fast, and those kids could not understand a single thing that I was saying, and so I needed to really work on slowing down my speech. Okay, so now I've got my lightest blue, super light blue, with the medium brush still. I've still been using the medium. And so I'm going to go over some of these parts of the medium blue to give it some highlights. Now some of it might still be, it's still a little bit wet. If you feel like it's too wet and you don't want to, and you want to wait until it dries up, you can wait a little bit. Again, you can pause the video anytime if you need to, if you feel like I'm going too fast. I'm trying to go slow, but I also don't want to just sit here doing nothing. So I'm gonna keep painting. So taking the medium brush, I'm gonna start on this flipper. Flipper. There we go. Whenever I think of that movie, I think of tiny little Elijah Wood before he was a hobbit.
He was in Flipper?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the main kid. Like as a 13.
Tiny Elijah Wood, I think of Back to the Future.
Oh, I also think of Back to the Future. I think of tiny hobbit little Elijah Wood. I think of Back to the Future. And then I think of 13-year-old Elijah Wood. I think of Flipper. I might be wrong. He's just some 90s kid. Alright, so put a little bit of this light blue on the flipper. I'm gonna put some on this whale belly, like so. Trying to give a highlight to this whale belly. Whale belly. If your brush is getting muddy, just remember to wipe it off on your palette, wipe it off on your rag, clean it in your water. You always want your brush to stay nice and clean. That is one of the big secrets to painting, is to always keep your brush clean. Okay, so I put a little bit of light blue on the whale belly. I'm gonna put a little bit of white blue on the whale, I guess this is the back, top of the face, whatever you call this, like that. I am gonna put a tiny bit of light blue around this eye. I'm gonna put a tiny little bit of light blue on this little armpit flap. Okay, I think that, oh, and then the water. So I'm going to use this white blue again, light blue, and I am going to go on these waves on the top part, the part that's closer to the sun, because that is how light and shadow works. Also, did you know that we're mostly using complementary colors? Orange and blue are complementary colors. The reason they are complementary is because they are on opposite sides of the color wheel. So if you have a rainbow as a wheel in a circle, you've got, let's see, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. It goes in a circle. And then any two colors that are opposite from each other on that circle, those are the complementary colors. And I find complementary colors incredibly pleasing to look at. But the unpleasing part about complementary colors is that or I guess it's neat, but it's also gross. If you mix them, they turn brown. So if you mix orange and blue, you get brown. If you mix red and green, you get brown. And if you mix purple and yellow, you get brown. Okay, so I put in the light blue on the waves, cleaned off my brush, wiped it clean with the rag so that it's fairly dry-ish. I'm going to take this dry brush and I'm just going to run it slowly along these waves to kind of blend the light blue and the medium blue together. Blending in acrylics, yeah, some people do it, some people don't. I don't often. If I'm doing like a commission for someone using acrylics, I will often just do like color blocking. Sometimes a tiny little bit of blending. But because acrylic dries so quickly, it's hard to blend it real nicely. Yes, Eric, you have a question?
Sorry, Melissa just wrote, not contrasting colors?
Oh yeah, contrasting. That's also what they're called. I don't know, I always heard of them as complementary colors.
Contrasting.
I mean, they are contrasting.
Did we have a conversation about the word contrast recently? Maybe
I don't remember that.
Okay, never mind. Might have been something.
All those other people that we've been hanging out with lately.
Right, yeah. Well, that's right.
How's everybody's quarantine going? Still quarantining? Remember how there's a pandemic happening? Have you voted yet? These are the only things that I've been thinking about for the past however long. All right, what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to use some black. Okay, I have a little bit of black still on my palette. If you need to grab some black, feel free. Just don't take mine. I got my tiny brush. I'm going to take some of this black with the tiny brush, and I'm going to go and fill in the eye bulb. Just very, very carefully put in this eye shape. It's a little hard to see on the screen. Let's see if I can bring it closer so that you can see the shape. It's kind of almost like an almond with a little bloop. I don't know. It's definitely not a circle. You can figure it out. I believe in you. So there's the eye. I'm going to take a little bit more black, and I am just going to, with a small brush, I am going to do a little bit of a very, very thin detail on the bottom part of this flipper to bring out the shadow and to make it pop a little bit off the canvas. And I'm going to do the same thing on the underside of the belly, just a little bit. You don't want to overdo the black. Like I said, I do not like using black typically because it can make things muddy. And so just use it sparingly. Bring a little bit of black on the underside of these flippers. Flippers. Okay. Now I've got that in. What do I want to do next? I want to put in bubbles. Clean off my small brush. I still have this medium or this light blue color on the palette. So I'm going to clean off the small brush, and using the light blue, I am going to make a few, small brush, a few small bubbles in this area. It's kind of like little weird shapes. A few round ones, a few oblong shaped ones. Like this. Not too many. Spread them out a little bit. Fill them in a little bit. Just with this light blue color. I'm gonna leave a little bit of the dark blue coming through on the bottom. And then I'm gonna do, I'll just put in a few more. And I'm gonna do a similar thing, still using the light blue. I'm gonna put a few droplets of water coming off of these flippers. Right here. Here, yeah. So, like so. Just a few little drops. They don't need to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. And that is perfect. Okay. Now, I have my small brush. I'm using my light blue color. I'm going to take this opportunity to put in a little bit of detail around the sun. Now you see how I left the orange coming through on the tail and the orange coming through in the water a little bit. To really unify a painting, it's helpful to bring colors that you're using in one section into another section. It just helps with volume and I don't know, make it look good. So using the light blue and my small brush, I'm going to do it very, very carefully, very gently. I'm going to slightly outline the sun. Just a little bit. Just a smidge. A little bit here, a little bit there. And that just makes it, again, because they are complementary colors, or as someone pointed out, contrasting colors, putting the little bit of blue around the sun just makes it pop on the page just a little. Next thing I am going to do is what? Oh, using the small brush again, using the light blue again, I'm going to bring in a little bit of light blue to underneath where the whale tail is. I'm going to do just a small detail along the whale tail, just a little line along the back of the whale, just little things, a little bit of cross hatching just to make it look a little kind of sketchy. I like it that way. Just a slight bit of outlining, not a ton, but just to give it character, like that. Yeah, I like that. When this is all over too, I will take a photograph of this painting and you will hopefully be able to see it better than what you can see on the screen right now. Next thing, white. Am I ready for white? No, not yet. I'm going to use a small brush again. I'm going to take a little bit of this black again, and I just want to create some slight shadows underneath these droplets of water. So just very, very slight, just a little bit of an outline on the bottom part of the water. A little bit of outline underneath these bubbles. Yeah, just giving things a little depth. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put a little tiny bit of black or dark blue, whatever you've got on your palette, with the small brush, just a little bit on the top of these waves, just to bring this dark color up into the sky a little bit. Again, if your paint, you feel like it's thickening up on you, like it's drying a little bit too quickly, you can mix a tiny bit of water into your paint and that'll help thin it out some more. There's some of that. There's some of these. Great. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to bring a little bit of black outline to the top of this whale. Just a smidge. Okay, cool. Now I think I might be ready for some white. The same way that I don't like using straight black or straight any colors, I don't like using straight white unless it's just for some small details. So clean brush, clean it off with the rag, and oh, looks like I still have a little bit of white on my palette here, so I'm just going to use that so I don't have to get out some more. Mix in a tiny bit of water to thin it out. Okay, now I'm going to start putting details into the whale using the white. Using the smallest brush, I am going to start with this flipper, and I'm going to outline it just a tiny bit with the white, just to give it some definition and some shine. And again, if you feel like it's getting muddy, if you're accidentally picking up the black or the blue with your brush, you can clean it off, just wipe it off with a rag, or even clean it in your water, because you do not want things to get too muddy as you're working. Yeah, that's pretty good. A little bit of definition on this flipper, a little bit of definition on this other flipper. Looks good. I'm going to put in a little bit of definition on the whale belly. Boop. Speaking of voting, we voted the other day. It's really nice to get that out of the way, not have to have the anxiety of going down to the town hall on a certain day, stand in line with a bunch of people that might be sick. When you vote, I am giving away a free phone wallpaper of this cat pattern that I made on my comic Instagram account. So if you send me just some kind of proof that you voted, or if you cannot vote, which I've had a few people who are too young to vote, just show me that you're being politically active in some way. I will send you this cat wallpaper for free that you can use on your phone. So I'm putting in just a little bit of shine on these waves, put in some little bit of outlines on the whale itself. I'm going to put in a little outline on the underside of the waves as well. Gotta thin out my white some more. There we go. Looks good. Put in some details on this whale belly. I would really love to see how you guys are doing on this project. And so at the end, if you would like to, please share your photos of your paintings with us. I don't know, like on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. You know how to contact us. Putting a little bit of shine into these underwater bubbles. Just little white bloops. Keeping my paintbrush clean. I'm gonna put in a little bit of shine on the underside. Now again, because it's underwater, I don't want to put too much white underneath because it does not have access to the sun. But just a tiny bit. What else do I want to do? Oh, the eyeball. The eyeball is black and dead looking. In order to combat that dead eye look, we want a little bit of shine, a little bit of a a Bambi shine. So taking your small brush, try to get it as just a tiny little bit of white on the very end. You can do this by putting your brush on your, you really can't see it. Putting your brush on your palette and just like twisting it a little bit, and that will get your brush just to have a small point like that. And then just using that point, I'm going to put just two very small dots onto the eye. And suddenly the whale has a personality. Look at that. Looks great. Alright, what else do I want to do here? I think I'm going to put a little bit of white into the sun. Just a few lines here. A little smidge in the middle. A little bit around the sun. Just to really bring in some depth there. Looks great. I am going to clean off my brush. I am going to take the blue palette and put it aside and grab the orange palette again. I still have a little bit of wet yellow and orange on here. And so I am going to bring some of that orange and yellow into the blue sections of this painting. Use my small brush again. I am going to use this orange color that I've got that I used in the sun. And it's a little dry, so I'm going to put some water in it to thin it out. A little bit more water. And I am just going to kind of go around some of these bubbles a little bit. I just want them to look a little more alive. Look, here's the thing about painting. You can do whatever you want. Don't let me tell you how to paint your painting, because I do whatever I want. And that's how I like it. I'm going to take a little bit of orange. I'm going to put it around here a little. I'm going to put a little bit underneath the waves. Man, I really did not like painting classes in school. Ugh. People telling me what to do like they know anything. There's that. I am going to put a little bit of, I was joking, by the way. I mean, I didn't like them, but yeah, whatever. Just teachers trying to do their job. I'm going to put a little bit of orange around these flippers. Again, try not to let your brush get too muddy. And I think I'm just about done here. Just putting a little, getting muddy. I do not want mud. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. So, a few things as I'm finishing up. We have got a live Pocket Vinyl show live stream on Monday night. We're gonna 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Monday night. Probably be live streaming from here.
It'll be every
YouTube.
Monday for the next 5 weeks.
Every Monday for 5 weeks. We are releasing another single from our new album on Wednesday. That one's really cute. I really like that one. And I will be releasing a comic to go along with it. We are officially releasing our album Winter Person on November 5th, which is also Eric's birthday. He did that on purpose, making everybody celebrate. Yeah, and we'll be doing the live shows. I'm going to do another one of these painting event thingies, paint-alongs. I've got a few. I think I have this one painting that I think I would really like to do. It's a little bit more complicated than this one, but I think it'll be really fun. It's a couple of bears and a river. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that one. What's the date for that?
The next paint night?
Yeah.
November 13th.
Okay, so
It's also a Friday.
November 13th, Friday. I'm going to do another paint thing. I'll probably do another coloring page. I'm going to try to keep up doing the coloring pages for the live streams as well, because those are really fun to see people working on those. I really like that. Anything else? I'm still posting a couple of panels a day for the Inktober Halloween comic that I've been working on. That will be wrapping up at the end of the month.
And then a new thing.
And then a new comic idea thing.
Sorry.
It's very exciting. I'm very excited about this new comic project that I will be posting. The last week of this month, starting on
25th.
Starting on October 25th
Through the 31st.
through the 31st, I will be having I always do, every year I do a big art sale on my art site, art shop. Typically I do it for Black Friday, but because of the election and because of USPS having delays and because of COVID, I decided to move that up. So it'll be the last week of this month. Everything in the shop will be on sale. Some things up to 50% off. And so the reason I'm doing it that early is so that I can ship things out in time for holidays. Don't forget to sign your painting. That's what I'm doing down here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We got Patreon.
I don't know if anyone, we can maybe stay online for another couple minutes if anyone has any
questions?
last minute questions or clarifications,
Yeah, sure.
or
Sure.
things on the painting and anything else.
Put in this 2020. 2020. Yeah, in the art shop I've been trying to add new stickers and new art prints. I put up some original comic pages. I don't usually sell those, but I decided to put some of those up for sale. Calendars. I got the 2021 art calendar is up there. And then, we've got our Patreon going. Big, huge thanks to everyone who supports our Patreon. It's really helped us out with, especially with COVID and not being able to tour. Just knowing that we've got this group of people that's actually paying attention to us and wanting us to keep going, even though we're not touring, has just knowing that has really helped us emotionally and then really helped us financially, because we're not getting that income that we usually get from touring. And we are we're doing this thing for December for the people who get our Patreon art prints for the month of December as a Christmas bonus. We're doing double art prints. So if you want to maybe purchase that as a gift for someone, you get double the prints.
You have to sign up.
You have to sign up
by December 1st.
Yeah, so you have to sign up by
in November.
Yeah,
in November. Anytime in November.
And so we're doing that. And
if you're already signed up, you'll automatically get double prints.
Yeah, you'll get those. Trying to think if there's anything else going on. Clean your brushes. Make sure those are nice and clean. No paint.
Someone wrote, what about an online tip jar or something?
Oh, yeah.
I'll post.
Eric will post it, but it's just Venmo is at Pocket Vinyl and PayPal is pocketvinyl@gmail. If you want to tip. You don't have to, though. I'm really happy to do these for free. Just kind of feels good to, be involved with people in the outside. Like Eric and I, because we don't, we're not going into a job. We're not essential workers. Singing is one of the worst ways to spread COVID, and so bars and clubs are just not opening up around us. And even if they were open, I don't think it would be safe. While the numbers keep spiking in different states that are spiking around us too. So we can't imagine that we're going to be able to go on tour soon. What's up?
Melissa said last Friday was her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Melissa. Lots of October birthdays. We got a niece and 2 nephews with October birthdays. Our friend's little girl May has her birthday.
Tom York.
Tom York, our good friend Tommy Tom.
And Johnny Greenwood.
And Johnny John.
Well, his birthday is, I was going to say his birthday is my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday. Oh, it's very exciting. Fall
I
birthdays.
feel special about that.
Yeah, I think we're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
It should be all caught up now. So here's a painting. Here
We'll leave the video
you
up.
couldn't see it, but I was cheating. I was copying the painting that I did the other day.
Yeah,
It looks the same as the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
This one has more of a
Oh yeah, more of a curvy line.
yeah.
This one's sassier. It's a sassy whale. So yeah.
and please post and
Yes, definitely.
tag
Please,
us or-
please post your pictures, even if you don't think they're good. I want to see them.
Yeah.
I love seeing other people's art. I love going through other people's sketchbooks. It's one of the best things. So yeah, please post those. And thanks so much for joining in.
Also, I don't know if anyone, this is our first time. If anyone has any, I know we couldn't really do much with the volume or whatever. But
It's just how I talk. It's just
I'm just
my
saying,
voice.
if anyone has any comments or things, we're always open to trying to improve
Sure.
the experience.
Sure.
So just, I don't know, contact
If
us.
someone wants to
somehow.
send me a headset, maybe I'll wear a headset and then I'll have a better volume. But I'm not going to purchase my own headset. Okay, I'm done. Goodbye. How do I turn this off?
I'll do it.
Stop.